The research vessel Eidolon hovered above the desolate surface of Planet Zero's 9, its landing thrusters kicking up fine ash and red dust into a spiraling vortex. A barren, airless world on the edge of known space. Zero's 9 had been dismissed in countless surveys as lifeless, its value negligible. But satellite imagery taken just weeks ago revealed unnatural geometric shapes buried beneath its crust. Structures that couldn't be explained by geology or natural erosion. Dr. Lena Ravik, lead xenobiologist and mission commander, adjusted her helmet and stepped onto the surface, her boots pressing into a centuries-thick blanket of ash. Her team followed: Dr. Omar Vance, an expert in alien genetics, Tarek Monroe, a young but brilliant exoarchaeologist, and Elena Sho, the team's robotics and containment specialist. The excitement among them buzzed through the comms as they approached the ruins' entrance. Half buried in obsidian dust and ice, the stone archway loomed like the gaping maw of some ancient beast. They descended slowly through the crumbled steps, the flickering lights from their suits illuminating pictographs etched along the walls, twisting, serpentine figures worshipping a central entity. Something insectoid, crowned with a sharp, ridged head and long skeletal limbs. The chamber at the base was massive and circular, clearly artificial. The air, though thin, was surprisingly breathable, a remnant of a long-gone atmospheric generator, no doubt. But what drew their collective breath was the object at the room's center. Encased in amber-like crystal stood a fossil, yet disturbingly well-preserved. It was vaguely crab-like with spindly, finger-like legs curled inward around a long, whip-like tail. Its underbelly revealed a sucker-shaped orifice, lined with rows of microscopic teeth. Tarek whispered its shape reminded him of ancient Terran myths, of parasitic demons and clutching spirits. Lena stepped forward, running a scanner over it. The results flashed in real time to Vance's tablet. Carbon dating estimated the organism to be over 30,000 years old, possibly more. Yet, the cellular activity displayed on screen. It wasn't dead. Not quite. The cells were dormant, suspended in a state of biochemical stasis, like a hibernating virus awaiting the right host. They dubbed its specimen Zero. They transported it back to the Eidolon, placing it in an isolated containment bay surrounded by plasma barriers and atmospheric scrubbers. Lena couldn't sleep that night. She kept thinking about the fossil's perfect preservation, its unsettling similarity to the legends of face parasites told by early deep space miners. She dismissed the thoughts as superstition but still watched the containment footage on repeat. The next morning, Vance ran a genetic analysis. What he found should have been impossible. The creature's DNA was a nightmare web of perfection. Genes taken from hundreds, maybe thousands of life forms across galaxies, stitched together with unnatural precision. It wasn't evolution. It was design. Weaponized biology at its finest. Embedded within the genes was a viral agent, something that could rewrite its host's physiology entirely. A delivery system and an instruction manual all in one. He called Lena to the lab, his hands shaking. There's a retrovirus in its genome that adapts, mutates, he said. It learns from the host, copies them, then implants something else. Something foreign. Lena stared at the display. Are you saying it creates hybrids? Not just hybrids, Vance replied. It births weapons, tailored to the host. Think of it as evolution at gunpoint. They initiated Level 5 quarantine protocols and started transmitting partial data back to Earth Command. But midway through the transmission, the ship trembled just once. A low groan echoed from the direction of the containment bay. The cameras in that section began to glitch. Sho, who had been monitoring the room from her console, frowned. I just lost visuals on Specimen Zero. Lena bolted toward the bay with Sho and Tarek on her heels. They reached the containment chamber to find the amber-like casing cracked, a fine mist curling outward from it. The fossil was gone. Alarms blared. Plasma barriers failed one by one, shorting out in a cascade. A biohazard alert flashed crimson across every terminal. "Everyone back to the bridge," Lena ordered. Sho sealed the door behind them, overriding all manual commands to contain whatever might have emerged. But they were already too late. Monroe was the first to exhibit symptoms. His skin turned clammy. He vomited blood flecked with black filaments. His eyes turned glassy, unfocused. Within minutes, he collapsed, convulsing. They rushed to him, trying to stabilize his vitals. Then his chest bulged once, twice, and split open with a wet, meaty sound. A shriek followed. Something wet and long erupted from his torso and skittered across the lab, disappearing into the ventilation shaft. Screams filled the comms. Lena doubled over, hands stained with Tarek's blood. Vance stared in frozen horror, whispering, "It used him as a womb." They locked down the Eidolon, sealing off every unnecessary access point. The creature, whatever it had become, was somewhere in the ship. They couldn't risk it escaping to Earth or transmitting its genetic payload off-world. The team, now 3, moved carefully. They tracked heat signatures, set traps. But the thing was intelligent. It learned. Sho was taken next. She had gone to reset the external beacon to alert any passing ships to avoid the planet. The last image from her suit cam was a blur of claws and teeth, followed by silence. 2 remained. Lena and Vance holed up in the ship's core, the only place where life support and propulsion systems could be manually overridden. Vance had an idea: to inject himself with a retroviral blocker, a cocktail of synthetic RNA that might confuse the creature, buy them time. Lena protested, but he was adamant. "It needs a host. If I can deny it that, maybe I can trap it." He wandered the ship, unarmed, acting as bait. He didn't return. Lena watched the monitors. For hours, nothing. Then a blip, a heat signature approaching the core. But it wasn't moving like before. It was slower, stumbling, almost human. Vance's face appeared on the screen, but something was wrong. His mouth was open, and something writhed beneath his skin. A second face pressed behind his own like an image on fogged glass. He looked into the camera. "Lena," he said, his voice doubled. "It sees through me now. We are." She initiated the core overload. The ship's AI protested, calculating that the explosion would vaporize most of the ruins below as well. That was the plan. Lena recorded a final message, transmitting it on a loop. "Do not land on 09. Quarantine enforced. Biological threat detected." She waited by the control panel, watching the seconds tick down, tears tracing lines along her face. In her last moments, she thought of Earth, of oceans and wind and voices laughing in light. Then the Eidolon bloomed in fire above the dead world. Centuries later, another vessel, the Orpheus, caught the faint distress beacon, garbled but persistent. Curiosity pulled them down into orbit, where the surface was scarred but stable. They found remnants of a ship, carbon-seared bones, and buried deep in ash, a structure nearly untouched. Inside, behind a shattered containment unit, something moved in the shadows, waiting,